Hi everyone and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. So today's video is going to be a really fun one and hopefully on the shorter side, although we'll have to see about that. I've been tagged by Megan from Train Girl Meghan to talk about the 5 luxury handbags I'm currently obsessed with, and you bet I'm not gonna miss a chance to talk about luxury handbags. And funnily enough, after compiling the list of the 5 bags I'm about to talk about, I realized that either I have to kind of rethink my definition of obsessed or rethink my luxury handbag wish list and plans in terms of purchasing bags, because some of the bags, not all of them, but some that I'm about to mention aren't really bags that I would actively seek to purchase either in the near future or at all, basically. Anyway, I'm gonna get into my thought process about the bags while we go through the list. And I guess before I ramble on any further, subscribe to my channel if you like luxury, fashion and some travel content sprinkled throughout. I really think you'd like it here, so I'd love to have you back. Consider subscribing. And now let's get into my list. Alright, so bag number 1 is a bag that you might have seen me talk about if you've watched some of my New York City vlogs. It's the Fendi O'Lock Camera case, or like camera bag. I'm gonna insert like the exact name over here somewhere. And I'm also going to link to the vlog where I talked about in more detail about the O'Lock camera case up here and in the description box below. Anyway, this is a bag that I first came across in New York City in the Soho boutique. And okay, just to preface, in case you're not familiar with my handbag collection, I don't own any Fendi bags, but the O'Lock camera case is definitely one on my radar. And if I end up purchasing another handbag this year, which might happen, might not, I don't know, who knows, the Fendi O'Lock is a very, very high contender, plus the price tag is really reasonable. Of course, we're talking about like luxury handbag, but for the size and for it being full leather, I think in euros the price is 1,200, which again is expensive, but for Fendi standards and for luxury handbag standards in general, for a full leather handbag again, and the size is really generous. It's called like a camera case, but it does fit quite a bit. I think that's quite a reasonable price tag, so yeah, definitely on my radar. One thing that did bother me like a smidge is when I took a look at the camera case again in my boutique. Okay, we don't have a standalone Fendi boutique, but we do have a concession in a department store. For some reason, I mean, it has a zipper that goes all the way around, and when you look at it, it should, of course, I guess, should be flat, but the one that I did look at locally had like a really significant indent where the zipper is. Maybe it's because the zipper is too heavy for the bag and the structure of the bag can't like uphold the zipper in like a flat way, or maybe they just stored the bag incorrectly, but that's something I might still have to do a little research on, because yeah, it looked like really sad for a new bag that you were able to purchase from the boutique, because the indent was quite significant, and I'd imagine that you would have a hard time like opening and closing the zipper when it's basically hidden and caved in into the bag. Anyway, I hope I'm making sense here. I didn't take any pictures of that particular bag that had this issue, but other than that, the Fendi O'Lock camera case is definitely on my radar, and for sure a handbag that I'm obsessed with. Bag number 2, which doesn't come as a surprise if you've watched my luxury wishlist video from last year. By the way, let me know if you want me to film an updated version of that. It's a vintage Chanel Diana flap bag. Those bags are just absolutely stunning. I would love to get one in caviar or lambskin. I mean, the lambskin in general, like the leather on the vintage bags, is insane. The hardware was gold plated and stuff, so I would love to get a Diana bag, but the prices have just skyrocketed. So as much as I'm obsessed with a bag and I would love to get one, again, either in lambskin or caviar, I don't have any preferences there, they are just like astronomical. Still, sometimes, only sometimes, cheaper than the current prices for the classic flaps, but sometimes they even exceed those prices, because I mean, yeah, the older the bags get, the harder it is to find one in good enough condition, and in general, like the amount of bags that are in circulation and around gets lower and lower every year. So yeah, love the Diana bag. You can't get any more classier than that, but I don't foresee myself adding a Diana bag to my collection because they are just so expensive. And yeah, by the way, I've been thinking about filming a video like bags I love but probably won't buy video. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in, because like, as I said, I realized that some of the bags that I'm obsessed with aren't necessarily bags that I would end up purchasing, and there are a lot more bags that I love the idea of, or I love the look of, the functionality and stuff, but for some reason, sometimes it's of course like a matter of the price tag, but sometimes there are also other aspects that kind of hold me back from buying a bag. So yeah, let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. Segueing into the third bag on this list, perfect example, the Fendi First. Honestly, the Fendi First is absolutely stunning, but for some reason I can't really bring myself to buy it. Maybe it's, if I was to go for a leather one, maybe it's because the leather is really smooth and I would be terrified of scratching it. That's an aspect, but I mean, I could easily go for a different material that isn't that prone to scratches, so it's not really a like good excuse, I guess, to not buy it. I think what it comes down to is when you look at my handbag collection, which, by the way, let me know if you want me to film a luxury handbag collection video. It might take me a while because, yeah, those like collection videos are really time intense, but I would love to film that. Anyway, if you look at my collection, I think there are like two categories. Either the really classic ones, or like boring, basic, I guess, if you want to call it that way. So my LV Neverfull, for example, my Saint Laurent Toy Lulu, my Chanel Jumbo even. The, yeah, mostly black handbags or like generic Louis Vuitton canvas ones. And then there are the out-of-the-box, like unusual bags. For example, my Ferragamo bag, the one with the flowery and like greenish patterns that I recently-ish in March purchased. Like my Balenciaga City in Ultraviolet, for example, or even kind of my Bulgari Serpentine Forever bag. More out-of-the-box brands, more out-of-the-box styles and designs and stuff, but like middle of the road or like something that's not in my collection, I feel like, at least, let me know if you agree or disagree, are trendy bags. And the Fendi First is kind of a trendy bag. And I don't know, apparently I'm subconsciously, or I mean going forward as of now, consciously terrified staying away from trendy bags, and maybe that's the right way to go for me personally. On the other hand, I don't think I'm a person that would be like, okay, I purchased a trendy bag and I loved it and stuff, and as soon as it goes out of style or out of trend, I would stay away from wearing it. I don't think I do that. I mean, if I liked a bag enough to purchase it, chances are I will wear it regardless of it being in style anymore or not. But I don't know, I mean, that might be a reason why I still haven't been able to purchase a Fendi First. The price isn't too bad, so that's not really the main aspect that would be holding me back from buying a Fendi First. Anyway, let me know what you think about the Fendi First, and let me know if you like can sympathize or at least like understand my thought process when it comes to like how I apparently like subconsciously decide for or against handbags that I want to add to my collection. Alright, bag number 4 also doesn't come as a surprise if you've watched not only my last luxury wishlist video, but also the one prior to that. I don't know if it will ever happen, but I'm just gonna put it out into the universe and we'll see where that takes me. I'm obsessed and I would love to own at some point a Birkin 30 or 35. I used to be dead set on the 35, but I think a 30 would be great as well. So not like too set on either size. I'd be happy with any of the sizes basically. Epsom leather, sellier style. I mean, of course, probably I wouldn't say no to a regular style Birkin, but the sellier is absolutely stunning. Black, Epsom leather, gold or rose gold hardware. I know, really specific, and I mean, black is a basic color, and everyone, I feel like most people at least, for their first Hermès bag, which who knows, might end up being their or my only Hermès bag ever. So yeah, most people tend to gravitate towards like neutral colors when it comes to their first really expensive bag. So yeah, I mean, the demand is way higher than the supply, and I don't have a like go-to SA in my local boutique because I don't shop enough, I guess, at Hermès. I don't know if I mentioned that ever on my channel, but I had myself set on a waiting list, which apparently is still a thing in Germany, although maybe also not, because I've had myself put on that list in June 2020, so 2 years ago at this point. Never heard back from them, and I did go into the boutique a couple of times to purchase something, but I only go into the boutique if I want to purchase something, and then I'm just taking the next best SA that's available at that time, which I know is definitely not the way to go. You should build up a relationship with an SA, but I think it just comes down to me not purchasing enough. As I said, I only go into the boutique if I know that I want to buy something, or I have a specific plan to look at something that I might end up buying later down the line. So I think there are just so many other clients that go regularly and buy regularly. So someone like me who buys maybe 2 items a year or something like that isn't someone that an SA would be seeking to form a relationship with. I mean, it's two-sided, so it's not that I can go into a boutique and say you're going to be my SA for the foreseeable future. The SA would also have to decide, okay, that's a client or a potential client that I foresee buying into several categories that Hermès has to offer, which I'm not opposed to, but for example, I'm not a fan of spending a lot of money on shoes. It's just not my thing. SLGs and stuff, I did used to own 2 Bastia coin purses, but I think SLGs and leather goods in general don't count towards your purchase history, although on the other hand, Germany doesn't fully work on a purchase history system where you have to spend 1-to-1 or something like that. So I guess it's more of a waiting game, and probably I would have to go into the boutique a little more often and purchase something. But again, I don't want to get into the habit of purchasing stuff just to potentially at some point be offered a bag. But yeah, I don't know. It's tricky because I mean, Hermès is a brand that I'm really interested in, and I also collect, for example, the Le Monde Hermès magazines. I mean, you can definitely say that I'm interested in the brand and I'm interested in the history and the heritage and stuff, but my interest and love for the brand doesn't go as far as me purchasing stuff that I don't really want or need just to potentially facilitate a handbag purchase later down the line. So yeah. And bag number 4, which I might have to cheat a little bit on because it's not a specific bag, but more of a category of bags. I still have to narrow down which bag I would be most interested and obsessed with. But I'm talking about Goyard, which is a very new brand on my radar. At least I recently purchased my very first Goyard piece in New York, the Saint-Sulpice card holder, in the colorway which I'm obsessed with, which is the white and very light gray colorway. Absolutely stunning. There are definitely some colorways in Goyard which I'm not a fan of, the classic one being one of them. I don't know, it just doesn't do anything for me. The green is pretty too, the red is a little too red, I guess, but the white and light gray colorway, so beautiful. And I also took a look, for example, at the Saint Louis tote. Not a fan of that because the bag literally has zero structure whatsoever, which of course is part of the design, but it's not for me. I own a Louis Vuitton Neverfull and that has a lot more structure. Plus, on top of that, I have a base shaper in there. I just don't like the bottom sagging. So yeah, I guess the Saint Louis tote is out of the cards for me, but they have a lot of other designs, of course, and most of them come in the white colorway. They have a beautiful trunk clutch. I think it's called the Trunk Minaudière. I did take a look at that in the Goyard standalone boutique in New York, and that's so stunning. I mean, basically ties back to the heritage of the brand, and it's super interesting because it's a trunk, a small trunk, which you, could also use as a decorative piece in your home. And then it sits in a leather corset, I guess. So hard to describe. I'll insert footage somewhere here. They aren't really a fan of people filming in the Goyard boutique, but I managed to film a little something, so will be inserted on the screen. But yeah, absolutely stunning. And interestingly enough, the SA told me that it used to be above 5K in dollars because I was in New York at that time, and they had a slight price decrease. So currently it sits right below 5K. Really interesting. Of course, still super expensive, but Goyard has a lot of other beautiful designs that probably aren't that pricey, although of course the entire brand is on the pricier side, in particular when you think about them not being leather. The trim and stuff is leather and the handles, but most of it is canvas, so very pricey. But if sometime down the line I might end up purchasing a Goyard bag, it would be definitely in the white colorway. Anyway, so those are the 5 bags that I'm currently obsessed with. As I mentioned, let me know if you want me to film a feels like part 2 basically, but yeah, a video where I talk about handbags I love but probably won't buy and why. And also let me know if you want me to film a luxury handbag collection. Yeah, before I ramble on any further, thanks so much for watching, consider subscribing, and I'm gonna see you in my next video. Bye!